Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Rewind with Ro. I'm your host, Ro Carter, and my amazing co-host, Rob Smith. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Got your little MJ outfit on. I like it.
It's not really an MJ outfit, but I'll take it.
I mean, it looks, very festive, like you're about to go.
Oh, now that you said that, I have to go grab something.
Oh, you have to go grab your glove?
No, not the glove, but I'll be right back.
Okay, all right. Everybody, take a second. Take a second. I am tan. Hello. Too much sun.
I have to grab our third co-host for the night.
Uh,
And he's missing his glove and his microphone, but he's still here.
Is that an OG or is that a?
This is the OG. It's kind of dusty. It needs to be cleaned.
Wow.
But this is the OG when it's all falling apart. But yeah,
it's kind of like the Pepsi. His hair is gone.
It's just dusty.
All right. Well, so we'll get right to it. But today our movie selection is Michael, Michael Jackson story. Basically talking about his life, and we'll get into that in a second. But I'm catching up with Rob. Any new things going on in your life? Anything interesting?
No, nothing too exciting yet. I mean,
too exciting.
I'm recovering from shingles still, and in much better health and spirits. So that's something to be celebrated.
That is health. Health is wealth.
Yes.
How's the weather out in Cali right now? Good, nice, beautiful.
Yeah, it's actually nice.
I'm in San Diego, and I'm talking to you like I'm not like I'm like, how's California?
I know. That's why I'm like, come on now, you're in Cali.
It's different though, because San Diego, we're up in the mountains a little bit, so it's a little bit chilly. Like I'm missing that Miami heat. I don't want the heat, but like it's a little, like I'm wearing a sweater every now and then. I'm here, a little hoodie. 60, 55, 60. It rained. I was like, what is this?
Every night in California, you got to put on a little hoodie.
Yeah, you got to drop. So I'm not missing that. The Miami, I kind of like, it's a little warm at night, not too humid, but right now. But anyway, I'm adjusting.
Perfect.
Cool. So let's do it. Today's movie, like I said earlier, is Michael, produced by Graham King. He also did Bohemian Rhapsody, which I thought was phenomenal. That was like Ray and that are my bars for biopic. So this is tough one. We're gonna find out what.
Now, what's love got to do with it?
It's up, but I'm like, those are the top two. Am I
just left Tina Turner out?
Tina was great, but I'm just saying two in my as an older adult I can appreciate it more. At that time, I was too young to really. But hey, great performance as well. There's a whole list of them, but I'm just gonna say those are my top two in the last 15 years.
Got it.
Anyway, also directed by Antoine Fuqua, who's done amazing films. So I love this collab together. And basically, we get to see young Michael with the Jackson 5, his relationship with his father, his mother, and his siblings, and then also him going solo and that kind of stardom and what kind of person does he want to be? The first thing I'm going to say, what I really loved about this movie is that it humanized Michael Jackson, right? We've been fed a lot of stuff, and whether or not you believe, like, does it do justice to the person when you only see one side of it? I don't care. I had a blast watching this movie. It was so much fun. I wish the only regret is that I wasn't home, because I would have saw it in Harlem just to feel the vibe, because that's where I saw Black Panther, and like, you got to be amongst your people to really feel it. So I'm out here. There were brothers came in came in late too. 10 minutes to the movie already started, but my whole last row behind me was brothers and sisters, and like I felt the energy. That's what I needed. I was out here. I was like, am I gonna be able to feel that? And so I love that I got that in the movie. What do you think going into this, and how was your crowd that you saw that movie with?
Well, of course, I was super excited to see it. The first concert I ever went to as a child was a Michael Jackson concert. I think it might have been the Jackson 5 concert, honestly. But
really?
it was Michael Jackson as the headliner, of course. I think it was one of the ones they highlighted in the film. So my first ever concert experience was Michael Jackson. So of course I grew up. I had the posters on the wall. I had the action figure, as you can see. So
I lost its value because you have no glove.
He has no glove, no microphone, no shoes. Or socks. He's missing a lot of components, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. But it makes it more authentic because I was a kid and I played with it all the time. But yes, I absolutely adored Michael Jackson. And to your point, yeah, I think that this film, which a lot of film needs to happen and take place right now, specifically while like history is being changed, people's legacies are being attacked and destroyed. I think it's so important to cement the reality of what our true experiences were with a lot of these people and with history itself. So I think it was beautiful the way this film really did highlight him for his humanitarian efforts, his desire to really like be a light in the darkness for kids who were hospitalized. He spent so much time like focusing on just being there for kids and like being a light for children. So yeah, I think that this would they it was delightful to see that they cemented this for his legacy.
Yeah, and I definitely want to go into moments in the film as well. But before we go into that, what do you think of the cast? I have some. The only gripes I have, I'll tell at the end. But there's a couple of things I was like, ugh, the movie's like a 98 out of 100. I wanted to give it 100, but there's like two things that drove me insane. But let's go to the casting. How about Michael Jafar Jackson? This is his nephew. And when I tell you, when I saw him, when I saw the previews, I was like, eh. But seeing it on the big screen, I applaud this young brother for his first film. Like as an actor, tell me how hard it is. Not only, or maybe you'll say it's easy because it's a relative, and so it's been ingrained in you since you were younger. I don't know if it's harder or easier based on that, but in my mind, like for your first film and breakout role, I'm thinking Oscar nominations right off the bat for this.
Absolutely. And I think it's definitely not easy because especially depicting someone who is
An icon.
an icon in modern history. So we've all, well, a lot of us have experienced the power of who Michael Jackson is. So to embody his movements, to embody his voice, to master his voice in the way that he did, to really just to bring Michael to life in the way that he did was not an easy feat. And for him to have done that in such a short span of time, because 2 years is a short span of time. If you think about
Yeah.
it, a lot of actors go to conservatories and then spend years and years and years. I've been studying since I made the decision to be an actor. So that is years and years of training. And then a lot of actors carry that training, of course, onto set. So you start working more and more and more, and you really hone the skill and the craft. So for him to have this be his first endeavor into acting, and for it to be him taking on such an iconic figure who we know what Michael sounds like. We know how he moves. We know how he dances. It was not only a mastery of his voice, it was a mastery of his movement. And he did such a phenomenal job.
He did. And also, the young Michael, played by Giuliano Baldi, he sets the tone, right? If he doesn't knock it out the box, it doesn't really set up for an older Michael. So shout out to the young man. I mean, he killed it. The smile, the dance moves, the charisma, even him going back and forth with his dad, played by Coleman Domingo, who knocked it out the box. I don't really like the makeup they used on him. Made him look like
It was
the bad guy from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. I was like, that's aggressive eyebrows. It's aggressive.
and
But
those contacts were, ooh, they were aggressive.
right. But it made him his own character in a way, which I don't know if that takes away from the film, because there's a lot more evil in Michael's life than just Joe, right? And I think it focused too much on that, but it was a real part of who he became and what that family was about. So that was an interesting take. But I just definitely wanted to mention that young kid. Also, Nia Long playing Miss Jackson, his mom. I mean, you never really heard about their relationship, so I was glad that you got to see that on film. What did you think about one Coleman Domingo and also Nia Long
Yeah.
playing
So
the parents?
I thought, and I've been saying this since I walked out of the theater, I thought they did such a great job of towing the line properly when it came to depicting Joe Jackson. One, because he has passed on, he's not here, he can't defend
Yeah,
his legacy, he
yeah,
himself or the experience he had of raising his kids. So I think they did a great job of not making him look like too much of a monster, but just showing
yeah.
him like a stern figure in the kid, in Michael and his brother's lives. They didn't show him, in any way violent towards his wife. They showed him reprimanding Michael one time, but you saw the fear and admiration that everyone around him had. But I think they did a phenomenal job of not crossing the line with the depiction of Joe. So I kudos to them for that, because that had to be a tough feat. And also, yeah, Coleman Domingo did. He's not missed. Coleman Domingo has consistently like shown up for each character he's brought to the screen. And Nia Long, I think Nia Long for a lot of us is the darling of like the 90s. So, to see her now play this endearing mother who is compassionate and loving, to see that side of Nia Long was really, really good to experience. And I really enjoyed it. I think they both really brought to life Catherine and Joe Jackson. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, my other disappointment is that you didn't have Janet in it, right? And maybe that's in the part two, if this works out that way. But that's the only thing. Like, I kind of missed those other things. Three roles that it kind of reminded me of Sinners, and the way of Sinners is in the beginning of the movie. There's the Indian guys, the Native American guys are tracking the vampire, right? And you're like, oh wow, this could be a whole nother film. So why I bring that up is when I see um who's Barry Gordy played by Lorenz Tate, like I was like, wow, he knocked it out the box. Also Kendrick Sampson, who played Quincy Jones, he knocked it out of the box. I was like, you guys could do your own other spin-off on movies on this, and then just with a little taste of Michael. That's how well they were on screen, even though it was a short period of time. Like I wish it focused more on that Quincy relationship, right? That Barry Gordy relationship, because you got just a taste of that. But I felt I wanted more. What did you think about their roles, and did you want more on screen, or was it just enough to keep the movie going, or what did you feel about there?
Yeah, I think it was just enough to progress the story forward. We got enough of them to understand the role they played in Michael's life and the role they played in the development of the Jackson Five and then Michael as a solo artist. I think they did just the right amount of introducing us to his lawyer and all the people that he worked with to kind of help build his career, and we got to see how influential he was in the progression of their careers, because they found,
Yeah.
from their perspective, they found a genius, and they were like the ones who got to tap into his talent and really help propel him to stardom. So they showed it just enough, and I thought it was like perfect, and it was well cast. They all did a phenomenal job, of course.
Also, shout out to the young brother. I mean, not young, but that's the first film I recognized him in. I've seen him in a couple of other ones, but he really shined in this. And this is Kalen Durrell Jones, who played Bill Ray, his bodyguard, longtime bodyguard. I went down a deep like dive into like their relationship, and you never really heard about that until
Yeah,
this movie. So to really know that man and understand, like, he loved Michael like he was his own son, and did everything under the sun for him. And you really got to see that relationship in the movie, especially when he was surrounded by kids and wanted to help out. And you always look at it as a man, he'll do anything for kids at the end of the day. And we got this demonized picture of Michael with kids versus like what we saw in this film and movie. And so I hope people really take the time to understand that and appreciate that of Michael. Even with when the Pepsi thing goes down, the donations, like, I want all the money to go to the kids in the burning. I was like, what? Like, you're crazy. I was like, but
yeah.
I love when I watch this film, like, I couldn't think of an artist. Like, I think I argued with my girlfriend about this. She's like, well, Taylor Swift brought people together. I'm like, no, Michael brought everybody. Remember the Bloods and Crips, that scene? And I
Mhm.
was like, I forgot how
And that
how
really,
good
yeah.
Michael was in terms of bringing both sides together, no matter what your beliefs were. And I felt that in that movie for that 2 hours and 10 minutes. Like, it didn't matter what was going on in the world, Michael could heal it.
I mean, the song.
Yeah. But I don't know an artist today. I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong, that is on that same kind of wavelength. Do we even have an artist like that anymore? I don't know. It was tough. She tried to argue me. I was like,
I mean, Taylor Swift has her own energy in the way she has it, but
yes.
I don't think we'll ever see another Michael Jackson. I don't think we'll have someone, and even address how he like broke racial barriers, how MTV
Yeah,
used to be
MTV, that next one.
extremely
Yeah.
racist and they didn't want people of color on their network. And Michael Jackson was that artist that really broke that race barrier in that way. They were like, we don't want black people on our network, and it happened through Michael Jackson. And he, like you said, I mean, heal the world, like bringing together all of these artists to really make a song about humanity and making the world a better place. And that's really how he lived his life. And it's very sad to see that, you know, people will try to take away the legacy of someone who, and again, he's passed away. So he doesn't have the opportunity to defend himself. And there are so many people still trying to tear away at his legacy. And that to me was the most disgusting thing that these critics did, because
Oh yeah, man. What just you being in Hollywood life, how'd you feel about like reviews and reading that and just be like everybody just dogging this movie? And I'm like, you know, to the point like I got to see it for myself. I almost they did a disservice to themselves, but because I maybe want to see it more,
they
right?
did. I think they did a disservice to themselves and the critic community, because you were really trying to sway public opinion because of your personal grievances or whatever you decided you didn't
Yeah.
want to see the movie for. So you made a active choice to destroy the preconceived idea of what this film could be, thinking that it would change anything, and it just made the movie that much more successful. And to think that people who were actively a part of the Michael Jackson era were not going to go watch this movie, you're
Yes.
insane. You're insane to think you were going to stop a single person from going to see this movie. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up too was, and I don't know if you wanted to like dive into this more, but you know, it's so interesting to me because they've tried to do this before and people have tried to take on the Michael Jackson story. But the fact that so many members of his family were on this project as producers,
Yeah.
in the list, Jackie Jackson, Jermaine Jackson, LaToya Jackson, Marlon Jackson, and Prince and Tito, like they all signed on to this film. Of course, there were a few people missing, but like the fact that as a whole, his family participated. And as I saw a picture of Catherine Jackson with Coleman Domingo, I truly believe they all kind of came together for this project, which was to me a glaring sign that, you know, the estate and the family were more so than not behind it.
Yeah, because there's already been like I think 5 or 6 films already about a version of MJ's career and life, and the casting was always all over the place, and I never even watched any of them,
Yeah.
and so this is the first one I watched, and I was like, wow, it was so well done. Also, the performances. Shout out to Jafar again. You know, this reminded me, and I had it on the post-it here. I was like, I remember seeing Ben Affleck in an interview when he did Air from the Michael Jordan story, and he's like, you know, he's pitching the movie to Michael Jordan, and he's like, listen, you're so big of an icon, you're not even gonna be in the film. And he's like, wait, what? It was like, yeah, well, at least my mom's in it, it's fine. And I'm thinking about this too. I was like, this is so hard for Jafar. I'm like, not only do you have to knock it out the box, but to look the image and everything, they did such a great, even with the nose jobs. I was like, this is amazing. All his mannerisms, the dancing. God bless this young man. Like I've seen some Michael guys that can dance, but this was like next, like he embodied Michael Jackson.
He
I don't know
absolutely did. He
that Thriller moment. I guess what I heard, he said in an interview, he's like they did the same lot that the original Thriller was shot on, and then it was a full moon that night, the same time. I was like, that's crazy. Like the energy in this movie just felt like it was right. You know,
yeah,
I don't know what I just got like all these goosebumps just watching and just like I was like, this is unreal. You
yeah.
know, because if you go and now you can look at a video and be like, he really nailed every single sequence of the film. I was like, this is amazing.
He really did. He really did. From the iconic dance moves on his tour, like we saw all of those big major moments that we know Michael for, and he absolutely nailed them. And another thing that I thought was really critical is that we really understood that the family was involved because of like the Bill Bray relationship. We got to
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
if the family wasn't involved, I don't think it would have been as integral a part to the story, because maybe as much information wouldn't have been brought to the table. Even him, like, and we all knew how passionate he was about like animals. And I love how they like really weave that into the story as well. His fascination with youthful stories like The Wizard of Oz and Peter
Yeah.
Pan, and how they really brought that into the story as well. So I think because the family was so intimately involved, we got to see a perspective in my opinion, that was more authentic.
Yeah, yeah, you don't get that side if the family isn't invested in it, right? And because there's a vulnerability of Michael that you've never seen before. You always knew something was going on, but like he was always trying to escape. That's why he wanted to build, Neverland Ranch. He was like, I want to get the hell out of here. I want to be a kid again. And he was never able to be a kid. And so you understand that. Wow, I can't even imagine what that was like. Also the vertigo, right? Him going through that process. That's why he wore the glove, and then it just changed. Like I can't even imagine mentally just not only being like this icon, but then going through all these changes mentally, and who's your real friends, and the fans going crazy and all that stuff. Woo, like
Yeah.
there's certain things you want. I'll take the money. I don't want the fame, man. I don't.
And I also think that they didn't shy away from the things that could have been perceived as negative. Like everybody is really viewing that announcement on stage and picking apart the faces of the brothers when he was like, this will be our final performance. This is our Still World Tour. And they all like, what? You can see them now. You're like looking back, you're like, dang, they really were like, what is happening? So
I watched the original though. They were chill. They were chill on the stage.
You could tell they were a little shocked though. They were chill.
Like, Daddy, I think they were more shocked about Dad's about to grab you.
Yeah.
That's what I think they were more shocked about. And shout out, sorry, the comedian who played Don King. What's his name?
Oh, he's from Chicago. Wait, no, he's not from Chicago. I'm thinking of
why can't I think of it? He's got a show now on what's name interviewing.
Yeah, and he was on
I can't think of it right now. Anyway, it'll come to me. But even though that was 2 seconds, but I forgot about that deal, and again went down a rabbit hole and learning about the deal that Joe Jackson made with Don King for that tour, and they were making side money off that. And Deon Cole, thank you, Deon Cole. My apologize, Deon Cole. My apologies. But yeah, Deon Cole, he did a good Don King. It was like a 3 minute Don King, but everybody really knocked it out the park in this film. So again, shout out to the casting. I mean, holy cow! It's rare that you can get levels, to it. But everybody, even if they had 2 minutes, they knocked that 2 minutes out.
Yep. We just got a question from Yarmus718. He said, "Did you see the Broadway musical? I know you were in New York, so did you get a chance to see the Broadway production?"
No.
I want to see it though. I actually want to go.
I heard it was amazing. My cousin. So here's 2 stories I have. My cousin actually plays in a Michael Jackson cover band that they tour around the world. And so he played with them for a long time. And he was like, the music in the show is amazing. You have to go see it. So just put in the time. But it was really expensive. It was almost like that Hamilton price for a while. I was like, player, I like MJ, not $500 MJ.
And Profess the Film Fan said that he liked the recent doc called Thriller 40. I didn't see that either, so I have to check that out. I didn't know about a documentary called Thriller 40.
I saw the documentary about Heal the World when they did that. That was really good on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting all those celebrities in one room. I wish they did that because MJ was like,
I feel like they're going to probably incorporate the part 2 because we know there's a part 2 coming. So I think they'll incorporate that. There was so much that we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see a bunch of other more of the music videos. There was just so much more of the history that came after all of that because they only stopped at 1988, so they didn't.
Yeah. I'm like, we got time, man. We got.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first? So I remember after Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when he did the Remember the Time video, and I was like, and I tell kids, I was telling my girlfriend, she's younger, but I'm like, you don't understand. Like when a video was played and MJ did that Remember the Time thing, and Eddie Murphy, like it was like, you were like, what did I just see? And I can't watch it again. And again, you couldn't even watch it after that. You could just talk about it, and hopefully they'll play it again some other time until MTV got it. But that was it. You saw it that one time, and you had to wait for MTV to pick it up. But otherwise, that was it. You saw it one time. You were like, what the hell did I see? And if you missed it, that was a whole nother conversation.
Oh, you record it. That's how you learn all the movies. You can rewind it back.
I mean, some people didn't have a VHS player, man, recording stuff. My full player, with your shirt and everything, fancy. All right.
They didn't even get to him having Neverland Ranch. They didn't get to They didn't get to Heal the World. So there's just so much that I know they're going to incorporate into this second half. And then, of course, all of his kids. Like, you know, there's iconic moments with the children, so I know they're gonna bring all of that up, like Blanket. So, you know, there's so much that just they didn't squeeze into the film that I'm sure is coming in part two.
Yeah, and I hope they just do the same justice that they did to this one. Um, Again, I want to remember my icons in a positive light. Um, and again, never found guilty. So that's all I can say. You know, at the end of the day, brother was never found guilty in all these accusations. So for that, I think you can actually tell a story and be like, you know what, there's some truth to this. And so I kind of like that when I watched the film, I was like, okay, all right, I can leave here. I just didn't understand the critics needing to bash that. Like the whole point of you being a critic is that you're viewing what's in front of you and you're criticizing what is there, not what isn't there. You
Yeah.
know, so even us right here, you know, I'm like, we're talking about this film. Like, I can be upset about a bunch of things, but just I'm gonna view my opinion based on what I saw. Yeah, I
Mhm.
would love a million things added in, but no Diana Ross. That's a whole nother conversation. They didn't add
Well,
that in.
they did film it because Cat Graham played Diana
Yeah,
Ross in the film, and they had to cut it all out. You know, I don't know, you know, what the conversation was, but I guess there were some legal conversations, and they had to cut
yeah,
out all of Cat Graham's scenes, which sucks for her as an actress to
yeah, yeah.
film
And
this
can you
project.
explain that what that means for the non actors out there? Like you're in a movie, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna be in everything, and then they cut you out. What is that? One, what does that mean? And two, how does that make you feel?
I mean, it sucks. Like I shot a movie last year, and when it was well 2 years ago at this now, and it came out last year, and I was like in the opening scene of the film, and it got cut. It happens, so they just decided to change the way the story opened in the film. So my scene was no longer necessary, so they cut it. But you do see me there still, but all of my dialogue was removed from the film. And it sucks because you're excited about it. You're anticipating the release of a project that that you were in. You share the news with everyone. You end up on a cutting room floor. It happens, and unfortunately, especially in a film of this caliber, where you're telling
Yeah.
the story of someone like Michael Jackson, I'm sure that has to be heartbreaking for Cat Graham, and to be able to portray someone as iconic as Diana Ross, like that would have been a major, you know, accomplishment for her in her career. But you know, again, like I thought about this, like Diana Ross, this is her personal life that is being put
Yeah.
on the big screen. So if she feels like she wants to keep something to herself, she absolutely has that right. She doesn't have to have her actual life put on display for the world to see in a movie. And I respect that. And she's the queen. And if anybody has anything to say negative about Diana Ross, you got to answer to me, okay? You don't come for Diana Ross. And they also, matter of fact, they didn't get the Wiz into the film. Like,
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. I'm like, because supposedly the Wiz, that's what opens the door to what's his name's character later on in the film. Hold on, sorry. Not Barry Gordy, but sorry. To Quincy Jones, because that's how they meet. And so they kind of force, yeah, I felt you don't notice it in the film, but something is missing, right? It's like they go to Studio 54, they do this, and then, oh, hey, you know, I'm like, there's something in between that didn't go on. So
yeah.
the cutting room floor, I guess they were able to piece it together. It still flows, but I definitely, for fans, I think there's something where like, something's missing.
Because
Something's missing right here.
we know there's people like Diana Ross and Aretha Franklin, who are integral parts of the
Yeah.
story, of his story, but we didn't get to see them. Like I know we got to see Gladys Knight, but we didn't get to see like all these other iconic black legendary artists who
Yeah.
were so integral in the trajectory of their career as Jackson 5 and as Michael Jackson as a solo artist. So yeah, of course. And then I know the main gripe that everybody's had that I've talked to is, oh, I wish it didn't end where it did. But if we could have been in there for 8 hours
Yeah.
to know the full breadth of his story.
Michael Jackson's story continues. I'm like, what? I was like, are you kidding me? You could have said to be continued. You got to say it like that. I was like, these mofos. Yeah, I was pissed. I was like, really? That's how we gonna do it? And I was like, all right, it's not the end of the world. So there's leaving it open for a sequel,
Yeah,
which is well deserved. I guess the numbers are crazy right now, almost 100 million.
absolutely.
You know, in a box office weekend. I think they were comparing it to what was the movie last year with the atom bomb? What was the movie that came out last year? No.
I don't remember the name of
Anyway, that was a big movie last summer. Oppenheimer, yeah. And so Oppenheimer, the numbers, it was 88, I think, opening weekend. So this did 97, 100 million. So shout outs to them. The fan, I want to see it again, actually, because I went in there. I went to a late film, but I want to see it like with the crowd. You know, I want to feel the vibes.
See, I had a crowd, but they were silent, and I was like, "Dang, this is weird." Like,
Really?
yeah, my audience was silent. I'm like, everybody on Instagram has these crowds where
Yeah,
everybody's
yes.
up and dancing. I'm like, how did I pick the wrong time to go see this movie? But you know, I did, and I enjoyed it nevertheless. I sat in my seat. I was singing to myself and
Yeah,
dancing.
yeah. I was tapping. I was like tap 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 tap.
Yeah, I mean, and the most excitement anybody around me had was the lady sitting next to me was tapping her knee. I was like, "Come on, y'all, get a little more energy in here. What's going on?" But you know, they weren't.
Yeah. I wish you could select with people like, hey, we're a group who's going to see this film. Come with us, you know? And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
let's go. You know,
if
that's
I
what
go
you
back,
needed for
if
this.
I go back again, I'm gonna dress up. How about that?
Okay. All right. All right.
You know, how many people do you think are going to be Michael Jackson for Halloween this year?
It's a long, it's a break in between, but yeah, you're right. You're right. It might
It's
be
gonna be,
Michael coming back.
it's gonna be the costume of the year. It's definitely
Uh,
now we have to do Prince.
well, so I was thinking about that. So based on, I'm going to ask you two questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Of your top, these are my top. I'm going to give you for documentaries. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Uh-huh.
They have Elvis,
Mm-hmm.
Ray,
Mm-hmm.
Back to Black, which I don't know why that was in that, but
Amy
it was
Winehouse.
good though. But with the Amy Winehouse,
Yeah.
did you see that?
No. I love Amy Winehouse though, so I do need to
Okay.
go.
It's actually a good. It actually
I heard.
surprisingly is good.
I
It's
heard
actually
it.
surprisingly good. And then your Tina Turner.
What's love got to do with it?
Yes.
What's the question?
Where does it play in those films?
What's my order?
And biopic. No, just like is it
Oh,
above the because Ray is overall to me was like that he embodied Ray Charles like that to this day that one of the best performances. Bohemian Rhapsody he embodied. I mean, holy cow! Like that performance was amazing as well.
it's
But
so difficult of a question. You know why? Because for me, of course, I what's love got to do with it is still one of my all-time
okay,
favorites. But the thing is, there was so much like trauma in a lot of those movies, and this
yeah.
one, Michael Jackson, was less focused on trauma and more focused on like the beauty of
Ooh, that's an interesting way, right? If
yeah,
those so if you take the drama and the trauma out of those films and just based on their lives and although even though Bohemian Rhapsody they dealt with him getting HIV, like they didn't get too gangsta in his how promiscuous he was.
yeah.
You know, they just like glanced over for like 2 seconds. I'm like, this dude was hanging out. Like you ain't even gonna just. I was like, this is it. This is all we seeing. So I
Yeah.
don't know, but
But
at
we'll
least Ray was rubbing on the forearms and stuff. Like, hey girl, let me feel your forearm and stuff. Let me see. And the drugs. Let me do some drugs and forearms. Yes.
oh my god. No, yeah, I mean it's definitely gonna like be up there for people's all-time favorite biopics, but I think that's just gonna be because again, it was Michael Jackson. So you can't they did a very, very good job of cementing his legacy, as I said before. So I don't know how people could walk away from this with a negative perspective. I don't know what those film critics were thinking. They were out of their mind. The film was beautifully done. It was beautifully cast. The performance was were spot on. The music was so infectious, like
Yeah.
infectious and like really nostalgic. It brought you back to that era of superstardom. Like, of course, we have the Beyoncés and the Taylor Swifts, but you know, Michael Jackson was the icon of all icons.
I still tell the kids this day, I was like, you don't understand. And I think it was only 2 minutes, but I was like, Michael Jackson stood on stage at the Super Bowl for like 20 minutes. And everybody, like everybody has their own version. It was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It was long. Whatever, it was long. And back then it seemed like an eternity, but he did nothing. He
Yeah,
just turned. And I love that in the film. The last thing I'll add is when they show all the people fainting and they
yeah,
gotta carry them out. I'm like, people don't understand, like that really went on back then.
yeah,
Like that, it was crazy. Like the Beatles and then Michael after that. There hasn't been like a singer like that. And then Michael came and like it was like next level. Like you would see these shows in like Europe, and like everybody's just losing their freaking minds over this man. And I was like, I couldn't understand it at that time. I'm better at understanding it now, but I was like, we will never have anybody like that again.
Yeah, and
I don't.
it's interesting too because they touch on this in the film, and Michael was so adamant about making many movies that were art pieces that went with
Yeah,
each
yeah.
songs, and the art of storytelling visually for music has kind of gone away because we're
Hmm.
all so invested in quick downloadable content, and
Yeah.
we everything's on our phone. So the art of storytelling in that way, I feel like, has been lost, and it's unfortunate because that was a huge part of our upbringing. Like really running home to watch music videos, to see the dance moves, to see what they were
Yeah, yeah.
wearing, and
Well, now you
emulate
got TikTok.
it. Right now, everybody's doing it. But I think the art of that mastery for music has unfortunately kind of disappeared. And I think that was a big piece of the pie, and Michael Jackson really making himself a household name, and like making sure that everyone was like obsessed with him and his art and his music. It was beautiful.
And when you talked about Prince earlier, like we need a Prince movie. I don't know, like because Purple Rain was amazing. It's about his life story. I was like,
Yeah, but
I don't know. It's tough. That's why I was like, when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, Prince. But I'm like, a
Purple.
biopic on Prince. I was like, Purple Rain is it's already at that bar. You don't. I think you just leave him alone. But you could, you know.
Purple Rain was, okay, yeah.
I'm just saying. Um, so the big question for you, Rob, before we end this show, what are you gonna give it?
Ro, you know what, Ro? I'm
What do
gonna,
you rate? What are you rating Michael for the fans out there that have heard all the BS about this film? What are you gonna say to them, and what are you rating the film?
you know, I'm gonna tell them, don't listen to these film critics. Don't listen to these naysayers. I know some of the family members are not supportive. I think it was Janet and his daughter, but the rest of the family were on board, and that's why I was like, I feel a little bit more comfortable
Yeah.
supporting the film because so many members of the family are on board and were supportive of the project. And I am going to give this film, it has some all-star players in it. We have Coleman Domingo, we have Nia Long. We are being introduced to uh, what's his name? Jafar,
Jafar.
who is the son of Jermaine Jackson. Um, I, we have Deion Cole. There's so many people in the film. We have Lorenz Tate. Okay, you got Nia Long and Lorenz Tate together in this movie. I mean, how could you go wrong? And then,
Oh, shout out to Laura Harrier, who played Suzanne DePassy, who
yes,
actually found Michael. She did a
yes,
great performance as well. I was like, who's this lady?
she did.
But she did a great performance as well.
She was phenomenal.
And Miles Teller,
And
John
Miles
Bronco.
Teller.
Yep.
Yep. So, considering everything, considering the amount of work it took from them approaching Jafar and taking literally, I think he said 2 years of training him on performance as an actor because this was his first project, training him to learn the moves so that he could emulate Michael Jackson and embody him physically as well. For him to take on that task and for them to take on, such a beast of a film, because again, he is like the biggest pop or like the biggest iconic pop star of all time, rock and roll, pop, R&B, whatever you want to. He embodied every category. Um, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
That was the longest build up for I'm looking through the week. I'm going over here. It's crazy, all this stuff. Yeah,
I
10
don't
out of
talk
10.
like that, bro, but you
And
can chill.
I know, but it was the way it was the
Oh God, which
um,
character was that from In Living Color?
hated it. Anyway,
Okay, got it.
um, so what I will say about this film, it was so well done. Like I said, the cast was amazing. Um, there's some underlining truths in here, and things that I think we all need to realize as we get older and feel comfortable about who we are and knowing who we are, is that Michael finally faced his demon, right? And his demon was his dad, right? Well, that's how they put it in the film. one of his demons was his dad. And so being able to face his dad and say, hey, I am no longer a part of this. I'm done. I'm removed from this. And I think it's tough, especially with family, how we always try to give we feel like we're stuck because they're family. And Mike, and that's what Joe Jackson kept on pressing to him. It's like, you're gonna do this to family, you're gonna do this to family. And so you gotta remember, you gotta have boundaries with family sometimes, and just say, hey, I love you. I'm gonna do what's right, but at the end of the day, not to the point where it makes me feel awful inside. And so I really love that he was able to kind of push through that. And then other stuff happened, but that's a whole other thing. But it's a great reminder just to have the respect and boundaries, with people in your life, especially family members and stuff like that. So anyway, I love the movie. I'm supporting it. I will not give it a 10 out of 10. I won't give it a 9. Again, the Domingo eyebrows is too much, and
A 9?
a 9.5. I'll get a 9.5. 9.5. Again, Domingo's eyebrows are killing me. Domingo's eyebrows are killing me. And I missed some things. Like, there's a whole nother story I wanted to see. Janet, I want to see maybe they'll make it up in 2, and I'll give you a 10 after this. But up
She said
there
she in the movie.
in terms of bio movies, it's in top 3 for me. Top 3 of all time biofilm. That is really good, really good. So check it out. It's in movie theaters now. Michael came out last weekend. It's killing the box office. You might not even be able to get tickets this week. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm going back again for sure.
There you go. What I would love to do for next week is Man on Fire. No, he has no idea what I'm talking about. So Man on Fire, they've now the movie
The
that was with
Denzel movie?
Denzel. Now they're making a show.
With Denzel?
No, have you, man? This guy. You don't even. Matter of fact, you should be pissed at your agent for not telling you that they were making this.
Well, I'm in the process of getting a new one of those.
They
So we
So
shall.
the new Disney show that came out, the brother that was in that, the Marvel one, Disney. It was what was it? Super whatever. No, we did the review like a couple weeks ago. Holy cow. Okay. Anyway, sorry guys. Going through some technical difficulties here. But Man on Fire, it comes out the 28th, I want to say.
Got it. Okay.
And I don't know if we're gonna do the whole series. But it will be. Let me see if I can get the actor again. Sorry. 7 episodes, Netflix action, comes on April 30th. Oh, Yawa Abdul Mateen,
Got it.
that brother.
Yes.
So he's getting this new role as Man on Fire. And it's a 7-episode series on Netflix on April 30th. I don't know if Netflix usually does the whole series out at once. They don't do it like an every week comeback. It's usually an Apple thing. So that'll be interesting. And I would like to do that for the weekend. So that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
And then I do want to do The Devil Wears Prada too. I'm sorry.
We can do that. When does that come out?
The first.
The first. Okay. So you want to do a double header? Oh no, that's gonna be tough. The 30th is Friday. The first is that Saturday.
Yeah.
No, the first is Friday. The 30th is Thursday.
Yeah, it comes out.
So we can do 2 and then do a show for Sunday.
Sure.
All right, perfect. There you go. Devil Wears Prada 2 and Man on Fire, everybody. It's going to be a crazy weekend. Enjoy. Thank you, Rob, again. Thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next week.